Welcome to our next tutorial. Today I shall be looking at one very important um, tweak in training deep neural network, and that is data augmentation. We just want to see how it is implemented in TensorFlow. Yeah. So here we're defining our model, and what we're using here is the TensorFlow Functional API. And if we go to the TensorFlow model, you see that the Functional API allows us to create some more flexible models compared to sequential API. For instance, with Functional API, you can have more than one output. Essentially, sequential API is one input, one output. But with functional API, you can have multiple input and output. Okay, and that's it. You may want to look more into this. So here we're implementing a functional API here, though we're just having one input and one output here. So to implement data augmentation in a functional API, it's such simple as calling layers, experimental module, preprocessing. Then you can now begin to specify random rotation. So this is random rotation, and you specify the factor by which you are rotating it. So by default, random rotation is only applied during training. It's not applied during inference. So you specify the factor here. We specify 0.1. Well, I just use the default on one of the tutorials in TensorFlow. You may want to look at how much is 0.1 rotation in your data set. Another one is random zoom. So the random zoom here, it talks about the height factor, which is 0.1. So for instance, if it's an output zoomed out by a random amount in range, this is better visualized than just experiment and see what it looks like, and you can decide whether that kind of augmentation will be useful to your network. So there are other types of augmentation that you can see. So if we come in here, you will see that we have some other type. So we have like center crop. Like in my own case, center cropping will not be okay because I'm dealing with an anomaly detection problem. And so if I center crop, it might crop into an area that is not discriminative. So and it might fall in an area that is discriminative, but that will add a lot of noise to my data set. So I avoid that. You can do random flip. Yeah, so this will be a good one also for my own data set. So data augmentation is a way of it's a smart way of creating more additional data set, and deep learning learns from lot and lot of data set. So random flip is a good one. Yeah, so we also have translation, random width, yeah, rescaling. Yeah, so all these things, it's things you try out, and you can read the documentation and see whether it works for your own problem set, because you can't just apply all possible data augmentation. For instance, if you apply random rotation, and you rotate, if you are working on MNIST data set of digits, if you rotate 6 too much, you might end up in 9, and that may be a noise uh, confusing your model during training. And likewise, if you rotate 9 too much, you might end up in 6. So you want to be careful and make sure that you are actually applying the kind of augmentation that makes sense to the task at hand. All right, that's it for now. As the whole essence of this short tutorial is to look at what functional API model looks like in TensorFlow and how to add an augmentation in the code of to make sure that we have more data for our deep learning models. All right, thank you, and see you in the next one.